You know what no one tells you? Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they waited for the perfect moment, waited to feel ready, waited for some magical burst of motivation that never came. And spoiler alert, it never does because motivation isn't a rideshare, it's a side effect of movement, not the prerequisite. It's not knocking on your door with balloons and a playlist. It shows up in your rearview mirror once you've already started sweating. And I've watched this happen not once, not twice, not a dozen times, but over and over. Literally 100 different people, different lives, different timelines, same crash. And they all had one thing in common. They got stuck in the fantasy of someday, I'll finally quit that job that's draining my soul like a slow leak. I've learned to ignore. Someday I'll go to therapy and unpack the emotional hoarder house I've been living in. Someday I'll make that video I keep thinking about when I'm in the shower or stuck in traffic. Someday I'll write that book, launch that idea, move to that city, leave that relationship, finally speak the truth I keep swallowing like pills. But someday isn't a day on the calendar, it's a seductive little lie we whisper to ourselves to avoid the discomfort of doing the hard thing today. It's a trapdoor in your brain labeled later that actually drops you into the same exact place, nowhere. And they wrap themselves in it like it was warm and cozy, like safety, like a weighted blanket for their self doubt, when really it was just suffocating. Quietly, slowly, politely, death by hesitation, and the wildest part, they weren't slackers, they weren't lost causes. They were brilliant, passionate, talented, funny, observant, creative, and terrified. Terrified of messing it up, terrified of not being enough, terrified of being seen and still not being loved. And they weren't lazy, they were exhausted. From carrying dreams they never felt worthy of chasing, from pretending to be fine when they were unraveling inside, from holding it all together with duct tape smiles and Instagram captions that looked way more alive than they felt. And what no one teaches you is that fear wears disguises. It shows up as overthinking, as procrastination, as I just need to do more research, or I'm not ready yet. But really? That's just fear with a clipboard and glasses, looking professional like it belongs there, like it's helping you, but it's not. It's keeping you exactly where you are. And it's not even their fault, really, and it's not your fault. We were raised in a world that treats burnout like a badge, like something to brag about, like if your eye isn't twitching and your inbox isn't on fire, you're not trying hard enough. We live in a culture that mistakes suffering for significance and pressure for purpose and tells you to just push through while you're breaking in places no one can see. And we're all performing. We're all online, showing off our curated lives with ring lights and filters, while behind the scenes, we're crying over unwashed dishes and wondering if we peaked in 2016. And so, of course, you feel like garbage. Of course, you feel like you're behind. Because comparison is a 24/7 casino now. And you're gambling your self worth every time you open an app and see someone else doing what you've only dreamed of doing. Because they hit publish and you didn't. Because they said, why not me? And you said, maybe someday. And now you're wondering why your life feels like it's buffering while everyone else is downloading their dreams in 5G. And it's not because you're incapable, it's because you're distracted by the noise, the pressure, the performance, the endless feed of everyone else's highlight reels. And you've confused watching with living. You've mistaken thinking for doing. And while you're stuck doom scrolling and self loathing and romanticizing a future you're not building, that future is getting farther away. Not because it's impossible, but because you're stuck in this loop. The overthinking, the almost starting, the I'll do it tomorrow that keeps turning into next week, next month, next never. And you start to believe that this is just who you are now. Someone who wants things but never moves. Someone with potential that never lands. Someone who almost, and that word, almost, it's the saddest word in the dictionary because almost brave is still afraid, almost action is still paralysis, and almost living is still dying slowly with better lighting. And if that hit a nerve, good, because maybe that's the part of you that still gives a damn waking up. Life is quietly slipping by, one unremarkable Tuesday at a time, like you blink and it's already Thursday, and you're not even sure what you did all week except exist and maybe scroll and maybe cry a little and maybe microwave something twice because you forgot it was already hot. And maybe that's why you can't sleep, because your body's tired, but your mind's wide awake doing laps like it's training for the anxiety Olympics? Why you keep numbing out with Netflix and DoorDash and caffeine and passive aggressively tapping through everyone's Instagram stories like you're researching happiness you can't seem to feel? Why you save only 7 quotes about healing but haven't taken a deep breath in 3 days? Because deep down, something's off. Something's missing. Not on the outside, maybe, but in, in that quiet space you only hear when the distractions run out and the house goes still. You know you were meant for more than this endless loop of almost okay, more than just dragging yourself from one dopamine hit to the next like a ghost trying to feel something real. You know you're not supposed to feel this numb. Like life is happening in third person and you're just stuck in the back row of your own story and you don't know how to get out. And that part? That's the scariest because no one talks about how hard it is to admit that you're stuck, not just in a job or a routine or a relationship, but in your own head, in your own fear, in this invisible cage you built with good intentions and coping mechanisms and lies you told yourself to survive. And now you don't know where the exit is. And it's terrifying, right? To admit that you don't know how to fix it, to admit that you're scared you've already wasted too much time, that the version of you who was going to change the world has been stuck in traffic for 10 years. But let me be the one to say it out loud. You haven't blown it. You haven't missed the train. You are not too late. You're not broken. You are not a lost cause. You're just scared. And being scared doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. It means you care. Because numb people don't spiral at 2 a.m. about wasted potential. Numb people don't ache for more and keep going anyway. You're not numb because you're lazy. You're numb because you've been surviving on emotional fumes for too damn long. Because you've been carrying everyone else's expectations like unpaid emotional labor, while your own dreams starved quietly in the background. And yeah, life is heavy, and your mind is loud, and your heart is tired. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but guess what? You're still here. You're still listening. You're still trying. You still want. And that wanting, that spark, that aching little ember that refuses to die, that matters, that counts, because it means you haven't given up yet. And now you have a choice. Not a dramatic movie moment choice with music swelling in the background, but a quiet, messy, honest one. You can keep waiting for the perfect moment to arrive, like it owes you something. Or you can choose this moment, right now, raw and flawed and unprepared, because I swear to you, the people who change their lives are not the ones who finally felt ready. They're the ones who got sick of their own excuses. They're the ones who moved while doubting themselves, who started with nothing but fear and coffee and a shred of hope. They're the ones who showed up shaky, who spoke with voices that trembled, who said, I'm scared, and then did it anyway. They're the ones who stopped asking for permission and started treating their dreams like non-negotiables. Because eventually you realize your life isn't waiting, it's passing. And you don't need to fix everything tonight. You don't need to be healed or confident or certain. You just need to take one brave step, one tiny, terrifying, no guarantees step, and then another. And somewhere in that motion, in that slow, gritty choosing of yourself, you start to come back. You start to remember who you are. Not the polished, filtered version you post on stories, not the people-pleasing shell you wear to keep the peace. I mean the real you, the one you used to be before the world told you who to become. The one with messy dreams and loud feelings and ideas that scared you a little. And maybe the most honest thing I can tell you is this. Your life doesn't need to look different tomorrow, but it does need to feel different. And that feeling comes from choosing yourself, again and again, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's lonely, even when it makes people uncomfortable. Because yeah, some people will call you selfish for putting yourself first. But let me say it plain. Self-neglect isn't noble. It's just slow-motion self-destruction with a fake smile. And you've been dying on the altar of being low maintenance for way too long. You've been making yourself smaller so other people don't feel insecure. You've been pretending you don't need anything because needing feels like weakness. But guess what? You get to need things. You get to want more. You get to take up space and make noise and disappoint people who benefited from your silence. And look, I know this isn't the pep talk you wanted. I know it's late and you're drained and you didn't come here looking for some emotional slap in the face. You were just hoping for a few quiet minutes to numb the ache, zone out, distract yourself, maybe get a little validation that, yeah, life's hard and it's okay to be tired. But instead, you got this. You got me. dragging your soul into the light and shaking it gently by the shoulders because someone had to. And maybe you're annoyed and maybe you're rolling your eyes. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, who the hell does this guy think he is? But part of you is still listening. Part of you knows that this isn't just another late night ramble. This might actually be your wake up call, the moment, your line in the sand, the invisible turning point where your life splits in two, the before and the after, the sleepwalking and the I'm finally awake. The moment you realize the only thing standing between the life you want and the life you have isn't some huge secret or magical shift or 12-step transformation. It's action, just action, not clarity, not confidence, not a perfect morning routine with lemon water and sunrise yoga, just messy, cringy, imperfect, gut-wrenching, awkward as hell action. The kind that makes your voice crack and your stomach flip and your palms sweat. The kind you'll look back on a year from now and say, that's when everything changed. So go take the damn leap. Not next week. Not when Mercury's out of retrograde. Not when you feel more ready. Now, start the thing, say the words, sign up, quit, try, show up, send the message, delete the number, ask the question, walk away, walk toward, walk through. Whatever your thing is, just start. You don't need to do it well. You just need to do it differently. You don't need permission or a guarantee or 100 likes. You just need to move. And I know the world hasn't made that easy for you. I know it's filled you with doubt and noise and shame and shoulds. I know it's beaten the magic out of your voice and made you believe your story doesn't matter, but it does. You do. And if no one's told you this in a while, I'm proud of you, not in some fluffy, empty way, but in a raw, honest, I see you kind of way. I'm proud of you for surviving what you never thought you'd make it through, for waking up every day with heaviness in your chest and still showing up, for listening to this instead of giving up and disappearing into the void, for staying when leaving felt easier, for caring when it hurt, for wanting more, even when everything around you said settle. And maybe, just maybe, this was the sign you didn't know you were looking for. Maybe the reason you hit play tonight wasn't by accident. Maybe your heart knew something your brain hasn't caught up to yet, that you're not done, that there's more waiting for you on the other side of your fear. And if you're still here, if you're still breathing, still feeling, still fighting, then the fight's not over, not even close. And I don't care how many times you failed, how many times you ghosted your own potential, how many promises you broke to yourself. You still get to begin again. And this time, you don't wait. You don't overthink it. You don't apologize for it. You don't play small to make other people comfortable. This time, you move. You move like your life depends on it. Because in a lot of ways, it does.